Hi, everyone. This is Rick MacDermid here once again with Senior Solutions Group. And today is another beautiful day here in the Yakima Valley, full of smoke from the forest fires. So we pray for those firefighters that are working so hard around the clock to protect us and keep us safe. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, feel free to follow us on our YouTube channel and share this with a friend. So today I'd like to introduce you to John Nance, and he is a behavioral health provider. He came into our office last week and introduced himself all the way from the great state of Louisiana, and he's going to talk to us about the importance of mental health. So a little bit different topic today, and so first of all, John, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hey, y'all. My name is John Nance. Like he said, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. Drove a long way to get here, about 33 hours. I decided that I wanted to come over to the Yakima area because of just the all-around beauty. There's so much to do here, so many beautiful rivers and streams and the mountains and the ocean on the west side. You have access to so much, and so it was a great move for me and my family to be up here around all the beauty that the area has to offer.
So you mentioned your family. Tell me about your family.
So I have a beautiful wife who is way out of my league. I have two wonderful dogs. We have a cat, and we also have a baby on the way that's due December 6th.
That's fantastic. That's
Yep.
fantastic. So what led you to become a mental health provider? How did that come about?
Well, it's just so important. I think that when I was going through nursing school, I knew that eventually I was going to want to do something a little bit more advanced. And when I was considering options for a nurse practitioner degree, I thought about what was needed the most, what I was interested in, and what was sustainable for the rest of my life. And mental health kind of ticked all of those boxes. It's very interesting and it's very needed. And it just so happens that I'm passionate about it.
I think that's wonderful. I talk to our clients on a daily basis, and we always ask them, how are you doing? How are you hanging in there with the whole COVID, all of the stuff that we've been through in the last year and a half now plus, and in general, even pre-COVID, they'll always say, oh, we're fine, we're good. And I
Right.
know that not everyone's fine, not everyone's good. People may not even realize that they're not good, that there's stuff underneath the surface that they're
Right.
just burying and not dealing with. So if you could touch on that, and that might be right up your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah. So, I like how you started out with everybody says, well, I'm doing just fine. And a lot of the times the case is that they're not doing just fine. And so what I like to start my appointments out with every single time is I don't say, how are you doing? Or, are you having a good day? I say, catch me up. Catch me up on what's going on, because that usually will lead people to tell me a little bit more about what's really going on in their life. Um, and with this COVID pandemic, we have such a problem with isolation, and especially with our senior citizens. We get concerned with isolation because our senior citizens need to be connected. They need to maintain that connection because typically they're at that age of retirement where they're not working, and so typically what you'll see is people being so deathly afraid of this virus, people isolating themselves and staying in their homes, even being afraid to do simple tasks like go out for a walk with their dog, for instance. And so we've seen in the medical community a lot of issues there, and we're having a hard time keeping up with the demand um, for making sure that these folks are taken care of. And so I just want to spread a little bit of advice for all those senior citizens who are worried about COVID or having issues with needing to isolate for medical reasons, because oftentimes people have comorbid conditions. Um, I would just say that make sure you always have an accountability person. Make sure that you're using the current technology that you have to your advantage, such as FaceTime and Zoom. I think most of us by now have smartphones where we can stay connected with our friends, with our family, and even if we're not talking about the major issues, we may not be talking about the current status of Israel and the Middle East. We may not be talking about this horrible pandemic, but maybe we're just talking about how our day was, what we had for lunch today. Um, I took the dogs out for a walk today. And another great piece of advice would be um, make sure that you're leaving your comfort spaces. Make sure that you are taking the time to step out of the bedroom and go make yourself a nice home cooked meal, or get outside and walk the dogs. Of course, socially distance. Um, and it's always nice to have a quarantine partner for those of us that can afford the luxury. Loved ones, people that we know haven't been exposed to this virus.
That's great. I had a client who was referred by a friend come in today, and she is very active at the Harmon Senior Center here in Yakima, and they have a day trip coming up about 3 hours north here in the Chelan area. I think it's called a Hittite community. They're kind of like the Amish,
Right.
and
Okay.
they're going to take a day trip up there in the end of September. And they will give a tour of their community and talk about their lifestyle, and it's a learning opportunity, and you get to spend time with people,
Yeah.
and they send you home with a fresh loaf of bread and fresh jam. So
Oh, that's
it's just a
awesome.
wonderful experience just to get out and it's just to start getting out and living again.
Right.
So I think that those are some wonderful practical tips that you've given everyone, John. How can people get a hold of you if they feel like, yeah, I need some help. I don't know who to talk to. I haven't talked to anyone really, and maybe it wouldn't hurt. By the way, you do bill Medicare, correct?
That's right. So currently, I am the specialist for adults over 65 years of age at the Best Practices Medical Clinic um, over in Yakima. Um, so we operate out of Yakima. We also serve the Ellensburg area and other surrounding areas, even the tribal areas. You can always get a hold of the office, um, or you can shoot us an email or a fax, even. We do that.
Great. And I know there's a lot of people that you might be watching this and thinking, I'm okay, but it never hurts to talk to someone, or even if you feel like you're great, maybe you know a friend or two that could use some help, and encourage them. So best practices in Yakima on 5 South 14th Avenue, right off of Yakima Avenue, just east of 16th Avenue here in Yakima. And the phone number again is 509-426-1759, correct?
That's correct. Thank you. Thank you.
You bet. So that's 509-426-1759. We'll have all of the contact information available as well on our homepage for our YouTube channel. So
Excellent.
thank you so much, John, and welcome to Yakima. And you are a great addition to our community, and wish you a great rest of your day. Thank you so
Oh, thank you
much.
so much. Happy to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You bet. You take care.
Yes, sir.